The media don't exactly match what they remember. But that's what we did.
And what was the general perception from many of the chefs and other people you approached? Was it very welcoming? Did you have no problems talking to the chefs and them going, "Oh wow, this is a great thing that you're doing"?
We talked to a lot of chefs. We talked to a lot of people. They're very welcoming to us to do this documentation because no one's done it yet. And you're right. For the 30 years that I've had, during the past 30 years, a lot has happened in the food scene. Mm-hmm. And they're more than happy to share with us what they remember and what they contributed to. Well, what Jen and I did was we actually cross-referenced. We would ask one chef about another, and that's how we got some of the information.
Did the stories check out?
A lot of the stories, yes, they did check out. And we also approached restaurateurs who have been in Ottawa for a very long time. So somebody like George Monsieur, he is the current proprietor of Back Lane Cafe. But for those who have been in Ottawa for a long time, you might remember him as the man who started the Ritz restaurants. Wow. And so for him, when we interviewed him, it was like a walk down memory lane. And
a very long walk.
Yes, he had a lot of stories to tell. But and then we also talked to chefs who started to come to Ottawa, in the 90s and early 2000s, and a lot of what George told us, it matched very well with what the chefs had told us. And a lot of them said, when I first came to Ottawa, it was such a boring town.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they've all agreed that it's like we're in a culinary revolution right now. Everything is changing. People are taking pride in what they're making, and everybody's also rediscovering that Ottawa has always had a great food history. We just forgot about it, and now we're rediscovering our farms and our craft brewing history.
Now, can you share maybe one story that didn't make the cut because you had to cut it down from 100,000 words to 40,000 words?
Oh, there's a lot of stories. Where do you want us to start?
The juiciest one.
Yeah. Juicy.
Oh, well, if only Mr. Monsieur was here, he could tell us about his enterprises with the Ritz. And for example, the Ritz on the canal. Well, that one's a story to tell. Do you want to say it?
That's a good story.
The canal Ritz, which still exists, when the concept was brought to George's attention, he actually didn't want to do it. Every fiber of his being, every business instinct he had was not to open it, but he did. It just so happened that somebody was able to convince him, challenged him, and dared him, and he did it. So that restaurant, the kitchen had to be redone twice. There's no parking. So somehow he brought in his wood burning ovens. It was a very expensive project.
I think he was also told that he had to make room for skaters to come in and use the bathroom without having to eat there, and also a place for them to change their skates.
He was told that.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
It's NCC property.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
why.
Wow. But now the NCC is finally opening up to utilizing their canal and the Ottawa River. So hopefully, and I know Mark wants to have more restaurants and more life on the water. So I hope he doesn't put these kind of situations on the chefs and the proprietors and stop that kind of thing. I guess one last thing before we get to Q&A, maybe what are some of your favorite food events that might not get the notoriety that people should be going to?
Food events?
Yeah, kind of food events. I don't know, like the Mariposa Farm, the Flux is the...
that's
just to look up, where can people find out about more of these amazing events that I know you know and I know, but a lot of other people do
Nick
not
volunteers at Flux. One of the things that we weren't able to get into because of brevity was that the city's young chefs and the young culinarians and cooks, even some of the culinary students, they work very hard together, and we are in a very poor economy, so they have to cook foods that aren't exactly inspiring all the time. So they do these events. Flux is one of them. Flux is a cooperative that's done by a couple of chefs in the city. Danny Mongeon is the head of this project. And what happens is, I feel that these events in this time period, right now in this economy, they demonstrate both a food that's great for the nation, represents Canada, and it's food that represents the city and it represents our identity. And they're working hard to develop and define our food identity. These are, if you can, and you will see these events coming around. There are there's collaborations being done. A lot of chefs get together with farmers. Please don't think this book is entirely about restaurants. Only 2 of the 8 chapters are about restaurants. There's chapters about farmers. There's chapters about there's a chapter that's actually called "We Take Care of Our Own." There's the Flux, the beneficiary. What was the beneficiary last time?
It's always a different charity. Every event's a different charity.
But you'll notice that the majority of the events that are held by the Ottawa food scene, they benefit some social cause. So these events we hope you'll look out for, and you will see them. We will advertise them. Nick will advertise them, and we hope you attend.
And I really like how I just read a few chapters while we're waiting, and I love how you make known a lot of people that are working at the farmers markets, to put a human face and a story behind that, so people will think twice about maybe saving $1 at a major grocery store and actually getting to meet the people that work at the farms and getting to know them and their amazing stories, and make it every Sunday you get to do that kind of fun stuff. So that's some excellent stuff too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything that really came as a surprise to you whenever you're interviewing everybody? Like you said, you've been doing foodiePrints for 8 years, so now you're researching back. Is there anything that came as somewhat of a shock, or something that you really remember that you didn't ever know that existed or whatnot, or a story that you never heard, sort of thing?
Well, for me, because I'm only in my early 30s, I never realized that the history of making our own craft beer actually dates back long before Ottawa was even a city, and it didn't really hit me until I think it was the construction for the new LRT and fixing the roads, when they found an underground tunnel that used to be for Brading's brewery, and it was like a secret tunnel where they would bring cases of beer and they would put it onto the trucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then a citizen had documented, one of the workers, that said, yeah, not all the cases of beer made it to the truck.
That's pretty neat.
But yeah, so I never realized, just the number. I never realized the number of distilleries and breweries that used to exist in this town. And sadly, actually, most of the buildings are gone. They were either demolished to make way for the new modern Ottawa, or it was changed into something else.
Yeah.
So hopefully LeBreton will get that kind of heritage back.
Yes.
Looking at you, Jeff. All right, and you have stories about Golden Palace and the egg rolls. That's awesome too.
Okay, well, I will have to say, I myself have never eaten
Yes,
at
you
Golden.
have.
I did. Okay, well, if you took me out on those dates and I didn't know it was a date yet. But it's Golden Palace has been in Ottawa for many years. It's considered an icon here now, and its egg rolls are quite famous.
They're unique.
They're very unique. Now, you don't have to go to Golden Palace to get their egg rolls. You can get them at the Sens games, or if you go to a 67s game, they're also being sold there. But it's got quite a reputation, according to their website, and also if you ask the owner himself, he will very proudly tell you it has traveled many, many miles. It's gone as far west as Hawaii, and it's gone all the way into continental Europe, and up north, and as far as south, I think it's gone all the way down to the Caribbean.
Oh,
So people just they just come and they say, hey, can you I want to make an order of a dozen. I want to ship these to so and so, and that person lives over there. So and it's not it's not uncommon for parents to apparently to ship egg rolls to their kids in university either. And the story is that when Paul Anka comes back to Ottawa, he goes to Golden Palace with his bodyguard to get some egg rolls. If you decide to have a bag of egg rolls and plum sauce, apparently you can get through security, even though you're not allowed to have liquids or gels. Because every security guard at the airport knows that
you just got to slide them one, right?
That's right. These are GP egg rolls. They can go on the plane, no problem.
That's excellent. So let's do a question and answer period. Any questions that you may have for Don and Chen about making the book? Any kind of the future of food in the city? Any questions you have about where to eat? Because that's the best resource they are to go on Facebook whenever you want to go eat somewhere, because he always has the best recommendations. So, any questions about what you could look for? Yes.
Hey Don, how many restaurants are there? All kinds. How many are there in Ottawa?
The question was, how many restaurants are in Ottawa?
According to TripAdvisor, the stat that we published, which was it's now 3 months old, it's 2,100 restaurants now.
Wow.
That counts everything from every McDonald's to to Stephen Beckner's restaurants.
Wow.
What's the number one ranked restaurant on TripAdvisor right now?
I don't like that ranking system.
Well, it changes. It changes
Does it
all the
change?
time.
Does it?
You could have. Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's take a well-known restaurant. Let's say Becta, his Gezellig. Let's say that's number one today. For all you know, in 2 weeks' time, it could be replaced by a McDonald's, and Gezellig will be down at number 10.
Oh, wow. Do we still have, I remember at one point the stat was that we had in Ottawa one of the highest bars and restaurants per capita in Canada. Do you know if that still holds true?
I would say no, because when the city implemented non-smoking, we had a genocide of bars and pubs. There was a very big decrease in those places.
You gave them all the whole.
That's an interesting story as well.
That's in the book.
It is. The Hall angle isn't in the book. What had happened was the machinations for setting the hours, last call, and the non-smoking actually created the economy in Hull, and it allowed this explosion of bars and restaurants. And in so doing, it drove out bars and pubs. In so doing, it drove out all the restaurants. So if you look along Promenade Portage, it's bereft of the high-end restaurants that it used to have.
Interesting.
So the interplay between Ottawa and Hull, and how close we are together, and how we have different hours of open, different hours of close, and different hours of service for alcohol, it shaped both cities.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes.
Which trends do you see coming to Ottawa next year or two?
Which trends do you see coming to Ottawa in the next year or two?
One of the interviews that I wasn't able to put into the book was with Justin Se. He's the pastry chef at Social. He and I had a chat before he had to go up north to go and chef. But he said that, like Montreal, Ottawa's starting to see a movement towards a return to basics, a return to origins. We are cooking real food again. There's a giant backlash against extremely fancy runway-style food. Everybody cares about something that's approachable, accessible, understandable, and they want it from quality sources. They want it from local sources. They want organic. So that trend is here, and we'll see more of it. It's interesting because the current restaurant reviewer for the Ottawa Citizen, Peter Hum, who's actually doing a really good job because he has 3 jobs besides food reviewer, he mentioned that just good food should be a trend, and it is a trend, and Clover serves it. So I think he missed something, there's more restaurants doing what Clover is doing.
Yeah, Clover is very good on Main Street. Yeah. Any? Yes.
Well, the competition tribunal has recently approved the marriage of Burger King and Tim Hortons.